freshmen. In this first video, we're going to go over the rest of the answers in your chapter 27 student work. We didn't get quite finished with that, so we'll do that. And then shortly you'll receive a video that will be the lecture for chapter 27 as well. By the way, it will come as no surprise to you that I didn't really think about the fact that I'd be videotaping today when I came into school, and so I am not dressed appropriately for school. So this is a teacher on her day off in sweats and a Cornerstone t-shirt with no makeup on. So here's the real me, and yeah, you'll just have to put up with it. So we are on page 273 of your work text. If you turn there now, that would be great. Give you a second to do that. And we have one more section to complete on Christ as King. We've talked about how three of the offices of Christ, three of the roles that he fulfills, prophet and priest, and now Christ as King. It says this: Revelation 19:16 explains that Christ is King of Kings and Lord of Lords. He is the sovereign ruler over all of history, the one who will remain standing when all other kingdoms, empires, cultures, and civilizations have collapsed into dust. As Gabriel explained to Mary before the birth of Jesus, his kingdom will never come to an end. Those of us still caught in the tides of history may find ourselves worrying about the rise and fall of nations and countries. We can identify with Belshazzar, king of Babylon, who received a shock while throwing a party for his friends. During the feast, Belshazzar and his guests used a few dishes that had been sanctified for use in God's temple as a sort of backhanded blasphemy. As the reveling stretched on, a disembodied hand, so just the hand, suddenly appeared and began writing on the wall of the palace. The message read, "Many, many, tekel, upharsin." These words seemed close to Aramaic, but no one could understand their meaning. The king eventually called Daniel, one of the Jewish counselors, to interpret the message. What did Daniel say the words meant? So you read Daniel 25 through 28. Here's what many means. God has numbered the days of the kingdom and brought those days to an end. Tekel means the king has been judged and found wanting. And Peres means the kingdom will be divided and given to others. This is true of all human civilizations. Like all people, cultures fail to reflect the holiness of God, and so all of them must come to ruin. God numbers their days, and he is not surprised when they fall. Read Psalm 2, 1 through 4. According to verse 4, how does God respond to those kings and nations that rebel against him? He laughs at them. He holds them. No, I don't want to put it that way. He laughs at them. He knows the silliness of their conceit. Christ is our prophet, priest, and king, and in a lesser way, we too are prophets, priests, and kings. We are prophets in the sense that we share God's word with others. In Numbers 11:29, what did Moses wish that God would someday do? And it was to make all of God's people prophets with his spirit in them. And he's done that. God's spirit resides in all believers. We are also priests because of Christ's sacrifice. We have fellowship directly with the Father. How does 1 Peter 2:5 describe us? As living stones in a spiritual house, as a holy priesthood offering spiritual sacrifices acceptable to God, not like sacrifices of animals or sacrifices of anything but our lives. Romans 12, 1 and 2 say, I beseech you, brothers, by the mercies of God, to present your bodies as living sacrifices, holy and acceptable to God. Which is your spiritual worship. Some say, which is your reasonable. Some versions say, which is your reasonable worship. It's the only thing that makes sense. Based on what God has done, based on the mercy of God, the the only thing we can do is present our entire lives as a sacrifice to God, give our lives over to Him. And in that sense, we're priests. We can therefore pray for others and ourselves, representing others before God by pleading with Him to encourage, to bless, and to strengthen them. Finally, members of God's family are also kings in a sense. According to Revelation 5:10, how will we serve with Christ in His future kingdom? We will be priests and we will reign with Him. We have no authority in and of ourselves, but as we submit our will to God's will, He will work through us as the representatives of His power and grace. So that is the student work. I wanted to make sure you had all the correct answers. I know you've already done the student work. And then there will be another video of the lecture for this chapter. And then we'll figure out how you're going to take the quiz after that. See you soon.